The galactic arena shimmered under the light of 1,000 hovering drones. Every seat was filled with alien officers from across the galaxy, their voices echoing in mockery and laughter. In the center of the arena stood a single human, Commander Ray Carter. Tall, calm, and silent, his uniform was plain gray, his expression unreadable. Around him, holographic warships floated in formation. The alien fleet. Glittering and massive, a reptilian admiral smirked. "Is this the human the Council sent to represent Earth?" Another alien chuckled. "I expected more muscle, less bone?" The laughter spread through the command deck, and even the young alien cadets joined in. Ray didn't react. He stood motionless, eyes fixed on the simulation map projected in front of him. "Commander Carter," a voice boomed from above. It belonged to Supreme Admiral Threx, a towering being with skin like molten bronze and eyes that burned with arrogance. "You may begin your demonstration. Show us what your fragile species calls combat training." The word fragile echoed in the air like poison. Ray gave a small nod. "As you wish," he said quietly. His voice was calm, almost too calm. It irritated Threx, who enjoyed seeing his opponents squirm before the crowd. The simulation began. Hundreds of alien ships appeared on the holographic field, their energy cannons glowing. Ray's ship, the only human vessel, looked tiny compared to the enemy armada. The aliens laughed louder. "He's outnumbered 100 to 1, someone said. "He'll be gone before the first minute." The countdown hit 0, and a storm of plasma fire filled the screen. Ray's ship vanished inside the chaos. "Simulation over," one alien asked, grinning. But before the system confirmed, the smoke cleared, revealing Ray's ship still intact, its shields glowing faintly. "Impossible," an officer muttered. Ray's voice came through the comm. "Simulation reset," he said flatly. The arena went silent for a heartbeat. Then Threx slammed his claw on the console. "Reset? You dare waste our time?" Ray looked straight at him, his eyes sharp. "You've shown me your tactics, now I'll show you mine." When the battle restarted, the alien fleet moved with confidence. They'd crushed hundreds of opponents before, but something felt off this time. Ray's ship didn't attack. It vanished from their senses, moving through the shadows of debris. "Where is he?" shouted an alien commander. "He's cloaked." Threx growled. "Impossible. Humans don't have stealth tech." A sudden explosion lit up the left flank. One alien cruiser disintegrated into sparks. "That was a blind spot in your formation." Ray's voice echoed through the speakers, calm and cold. The alien officers froze. Then another explosion followed, and another. Ships were vanishing one by one. "This is not possible," cried a Lieutenant Ray, worked in silence. His hands moved fast, every command precise. He had studied the alien fleet's timing, its weak points and their overconfidence. "They rely on power," he whispered to his crew. "We rely on mind." Inside the control room, his human cadets watched in awe as their commander manipulated the simulation like a predator in darkness. Every time the aliens adapted, he changed his pattern, never repeating the same move twice. Within minutes, half the alien fleet was gone. The laughter in the arena died, replaced by murmurs of disbelief. "He's cheating!" Threx shouted. "No simulation allows this!" But the system confirmed every hit as valid. Ray's tactics were unpredictable, chaotic yet flawless. He used broken satellites to block enemy scans, reflected energy beams to create ghost signals, and turned destroyed ships into traps. The crowd of officers who once mocked now leaned forward in silence, watching as their fleet fell apart. Threx roared in anger. "Activate real combat mode!" Gasps filled the arena. It was forbidden to use real weapons in simulation trials, but no one dared to stop him. Ray looked up at the Admiral's podium. "You want real?" he said quietly. "Then prepare for it." The program shifted, turning holographic rounds into live ammunition. The atmosphere changed, tension thick as steel. The alien fleet unleashed everything. Blinding flashes tore through the void, shaking the room. Ray's small ship moved like lightning, twisting and weaving between the explosions. "Target acquired!" An alien shouted, but Ray's ship disappeared again. The next second, their command cruiser shook violently, alarms blaring. "He's inside our defense grid!" Someone screamed. The humans had breached the flagship systems using an old Earth trick, false data loops. Ray appeared on the main holo feed, his face calm under flickering light. "You wanted to see human combat training," he said. "You just did." Threx's jaw tightened. "You think this proves anything?" Ray looked at him steadily. "Yes," he said. "It proves you've forgotten what fear feels like." Then his ship launched one final maneuver, a reverse plasma burst that disabled every weapon in range without destroying a single ship. The lights dimmed across the field. The simulation ended with Ray's ship floating untouched. The silence that followed was deafening. No one laughed now. Threx glared at him but said nothing. The alien officers avoided Ray's eyes as he stepped off the platform. "That," he said softly, "was just practice." As Ray walked away, one alien cadet whispered to another, "He was outnumbered, outgunned, and still won." The other replied in a shaky voice, "That's not training, that's war." Outside the arena, Ray stood beneath the glowing banners of the Galactic fleet. His communicator blinked with a message from Earth Command. He opened it and read the simple words, "They mocked you." "Commander, but now they know." Ray smiled faintly, looked up at the stars and said, "They'll learn not to underestimate humans again." The wind of 1,000 planets blew softly through the halls, but no laughter followed this time. Only silence and respect. The next morning, the Galactic arena was quiet. But the silence didn't mean peace. It meant fear. Every alien who had laughed the day before now avoided eye contact with the human. Commander Ray Carter walked through the hall with steady steps. His face calm, yet his presence felt heavier than any weapon. The officers who once mocked him now whispered behind his back, "He's dangerous," one murmured. "He humiliated the fleet in front of the entire council," another replied. "Threx will not let this go." The name of the Supreme Admiral echoed like thunder across the corridors. Inside the control chamber, Threx stood before a giant hologram of Ray's battle, replaying every move in slow motion. "How did a single ship outthink my entire fleet?" He growled his aide. A nervous insectoid alien replied, "Sir, the human used tactics we've never seen. He fought like he knew our every thought." Threx turned sharply, his molten eyes blazing. "He did know. That's the problem." He slammed his fist through the console, sparks flying. "No human should ever make us look weak." Not in front of the council, meanwhile. Ray sat in a small quarters deep within the arena's compound, staring at the glowing projection of Earth on his datapad. "Commander," his second-in-command, Lieutenant Hannah Blake said as she entered. The council requested another demonstration. This time with live fleets. Ray raised his eyes slowly. "Live fleets?" he asked. "That's not a demonstration. That's a challenge." Hannah nodded. "They want to prove yesterday wasn't luck." Ray leaned back in his chair and sighed. "Luck doesn't rewrite battle doctrine," he said quietly. Later that day, the council chamber filled again. The crowd was larger this time. Generals, reporters, even politicians. All of them wanted to see the human fail. The announcer's voice echoed across the chamber. "Round 2 of the combat demonstration begins. Human Commander Ray Carter versus the Zorathian fleet. Live weapons authorized." Gasps filled the arena. Threx himself took command of the alien side. His ships arranged in perfect formation, a symbol of discipline and superiority. Ray stood in the center of his command deck. Hands behind his back, his ship, Valkyrie, was smaller and older than the Zorathian cruisers. "Status report," he said. Hannah replied, "Shields up, weapons online. We're outnumbered 20-1. Ray smiled faintly. "So, better odds than last time." The crew laughed nervously. "Commander," one of them said, "they're already locking weapons." "Good," Ray said. "Let them." When the battle began, the alien fleet moved like a storm. Massive cannons firing plasma across the void. The sky burned in blue and red flashes. The crowd cheered as the human ship seemed to vanish again. "He's running!" someone shouted. Threx grinned. "Typical human cowardice." But then the alien sensors went haywire. Multiple signals detected. A technician screamed, "He's everywhere!" Threx barked, "Impossible, there's only one ship." On the battlefield, Ray's voice stayed calm. "Deploy ghost drones," he ordered. Dozens of small decoy drones scattered through space, each carrying false signal codes. The alien fleet fired blindly, destroying their own allies in confusion. "What's happening?" An alien officer cried. "We're being jammed!" Threx slammed his claws on the control table. "Cut the interference!" But it was too late. The human ship appeared behind the main line, firing precise shots at their engines, disabling ship after ship without killing anyone. "Commander Carter!" Threx's voice roared through the comms. "Fight me directly if you dare." Ray looked at the screen and replied calmly. "You already lost directly," Threx snarled. "You hide behind tricks." "No," Ray said. "I adapt." Suddenly Threx gave a hidden signal. A massive ion pulse burst from his flagship, disabling all drones instantly. The crowd cheered. "He's cornered now!" One shouted. Ray's ship flickered as systems went offline. "Sir, we've lost thrusters!" Hannah yelled. Sparks flew across the bridge. Ray stood silently. Then, without panic, he said, "Switch to manual override. Reroute auxiliary power." "That's not enough to move us," Una said. Ray's eyes sharpened. "We don't need to move." He turned toward the main viewport and said softly, "Open channel to the flagship." The image of Threx filled the screen, smug and confident. Finally, "You stop running," he said. Ray gave a small nod. "You think victory is about power," he said. "But you've already lost the one thing that matters," Threx sneered. "And what is that?" Ray leaned closer to the screen. "Control." At that moment, the alien flagship's systems began flickering. "Sir!" An officer screamed. "Our targeting grid is turning against us." Ray had secretly uploaded a virus through the communication link, using the same frequencies Threx used for his boastful broadcast. The alien fleet's weapons turned inward, blocking on their own ships. "Abort fire!" Threx shouted, but the commands wouldn't stop. The audience gasped as the flagship's cannons glowed red, ready to fire. Ray's voice echoed through the speakers. "Calm as ice. This is human combat training. We win before the first shot is fired." Then he deactivated the virus. Sparing them at the last second, the cannons powered down, leaving Threx shaking with rage and humiliation. The arena erupted into chaos. Some shouted in awe, others in fear. Ray ended the transmission and leaned back in his chair. Hannah looked at him, still stunned. "You could have destroyed them," she said. "I could have," he replied. "But that's not the lesson they need. After the simulation..." Threx stormed into the council hall. "That human is a threat to galactic peace," he roared. "He uses forbidden tactics, psychological warfare." But the council leader raised a hand. "You challenged him, Admiral, and you lost." "Twice." Threx glared at Ray, standing at the far end of the chamber. Ray simply said, "Maybe next time you'll stop underestimating humans." That night in his quarters, Ray sat alone. The lights dimmed as a message from Earth came through. "Excellent work, Commander. You've reminded the galaxy that humans are not prey." Ray smiled faintly. "No," he whispered. "We're the hunters who learn patience." Outside, the alien stars flickered across the void. But in the heart of every alien who had watched that battle, one thought refused to fade. If this was only training, what would real war look like when humans decided to fight for real? The council chamber was in chaos. Alien leaders shouted over each other. Screens replayed the footage of Ray Carter's victory again and again. He humiliated the entire Zorathian fleet. One shouted, "That was no simulation, it was warfare." Another barked. The Supreme Admiral Threx stood at the center of the storm, silent but fuming. His eyes burned with rage. "We will not let this human embarrass us again," he growled. "The council will see his defeat." But deep down, he knew what had happened was more than embarrassment. It was fear. In his quarters, Commander Ray Carter sat quietly with a cup of coffee, looking at the stars through the reinforced window. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Hannah Blake, entered. "The council's not happy," she said. Ray didn't look away from the stars. "They shouldn't be," he replied. "I showed them their weakness," Hannah frowned, "and they're planning something. I can feel it." Ray finally turned to face her. "Let them. Every move they make teaches us more." Moments later, the comm screen lit up. Incoming message, classified, the AI voice said. Ray accepted the transmission. The image of an old human admiral appeared, his face marked by years of battle. Commander Carter, the man said, you've done well, but the Council is preparing a real engagement. They're deploying the Crimson Armada. Ray raised a brow. That's not a training fleet. No, the Admiral said. It's the largest battle group in the galaxy. 50 ships strong, led by Threx himself. They want to prove humans can't stand against true military power. Hannah's eyes widened. 50 ships? She whispered. Ray nodded. Let them come. Hours later, alarms echoed across the arena station. Thousands gathered to watch. The Galactic Council called it a final test, but everyone knew it was an execution. Commander Ray Carter of Earth versus the Crimson Armada, the announcer declared. The audience roared with anticipation. Threx appeared on the giant screen, sneering, "This time, human, no tricks will save you." Ray's expression didn't change. "Then I'll just have to improvise," he said calmly. The Valkyrie floated alone in the blackness of space, facing the enormous alien fleet. "Commander," Hannah said, "we're surrounded on all sides." "Good," Ray replied. "That means they can't run." The aliens formed a battle ring around the human ship. Weapons glowing, Threx's voice echoed through the comms. "I'll give you one chance to surrender." Ray smiled faintly. "That's one chance more than you'll get." The first barrage came like a storm. Energy blasts slamming into the Valkyrie's shields. The ship shook violently, lights flickering. "Shields at 70%. Hannah shouted. "Hold steady," Ray ordered. "Wait for the pattern." He watched the chaos of plasma fire, and within seconds he saw it. A rhythm. Every alien fleet had a firing delay between power cycles. "There," he said. "Cut engines. Let them overshoot." The ship suddenly stopped, and the enemy shots flew past, smashing into their own formation. The crowd gasped. "He's predicting their attacks." Someone yelled. Ray's fingers danced across the console. "Deploy counterwave burst," he commanded. The Valkyrie released a pulse of light that distorted enemy senses. Alien ships turned against phantom targets. "They're shooting each other again." Hannah laughed breathlessly. "Not for long," Ray said. "They'll adapt." And they did. Threx, furious but focused, ordered the fleet to switch to manual targeting. "He cannot fool us forever," he shouted. Suddenly, Threx launched a new weapon, a graviton net designed to trap ships in energy threads. "He's closing in!" Hannah yelled. The glowing web spread across space like a cage. Ray's crew panicked. "We're caught." But Ray's voice stayed calm. "Divert power from shields to thrusters. That'll leave us exposed." A pilot shouted. "Do it," Ray said firmly. The engines roared, tearing against the pull of the net. The hull creaked, metal groaned. "Now reverse thrust on my mark," he said. 3, 2, 1. The ship flipped backward, using the net's pull to slingshot through a gap. The Valkyrie shot free, and the audience erupted in cheers. Threx slammed his fists against the control panel. "Enough! All ships converge and destroy him." Dozens of cruisers turned their cannons toward the Valkyrie, but Ray wasn't done. "Open the forward bay," he said. Hannah stared. "Sir?" "That releases the cargo drones." "Exactly," he replied. Hundreds of drones launched into space, spinning in formation. The alien sensors couldn't distinguish between the drones and the real ship. "Which one is the human?" Threx yelled. His officers shouted back, "We can't lock on!" Ray used the confusion to dive straight toward the flagship. "Hannah, ready EMP charge," he said. "We're going to knock on his door." The Valkyrie raced through the battlefield. Explosions lighting the path. "Fire EMP, now!" he shouted. The blue wave burst outward, disabling enemy systems in a massive radius. Ships went dark one by one, floating helplessly. The flagship's lights flickered. "Shields down!" cried an alien officer. Threx bared his teeth. "He won't reach us alive." Ray's ship emerged from the smoke, its hull scarred but still moving. "Target his command core," Hannah said. "Negative," Ray replied. "I'm not here to kill him. I'm here to teach him." He opened a channel to the flagship. "Threx," he said, "look outside your window." The Admiral turned and saw his own fleet paralyzed. motionless, defeated without destruction. This, Ray continued, is what humans call restraint. For a long moment, the arena was silent, then slow applause began. First from the human spectators, then from others. Threx stared at the dark screen, humiliated. "End transmission," he growled. But the council had already seen everything. Back aboard the Valkyrie, Hannah let out a long breath. "You did it again," she said. Ray shook his head. "No," he said softly. "They did it to themselves." He looked out the window, the stars reflecting in his eyes. "Every time they try to crush us, they show the galaxy why humans survive. Not because we're stronger, but because we never stop adapting." As the ship drifted through the glowing remains of the battlefield, a quiet message arrived from Earth Command. "The Council now respects you, but they also fear you." Ray smiled faintly. "Then the lesson worked," he whispered. Outside, the galaxy watched in silence, knowing one unshakable truth. The human they mocked had just rewritten the rules of war forever. The next day, the galaxy was no longer laughing. News of the human commander's victory spread like wildfire. Every transmission, every broadcast, every fleet channel repeated one name: Commander Ray Carter. Aliens who had once mocked humans now whispered his name with fear. Others called him the strategist of shadows, but Threx, the defeated Supreme Admiral, called him something else. The threat inside the Galactic Council Hall, the atmosphere was tense. The high chamber glittered under silver light, but the air felt cold. "This human has humiliated us 3 times, one council member shouted. "If we do nothing, Earth will rise above us." Another hissed, "We should destroy them before they become unstoppable." A third voice, calm but sharp, replied, "And risk another war. We'd lose more than pride." The argument grew louder until Threx stepped forward. "Enough," he said, his voice booming. "The human isn't just clever, he's dangerous. If he can outthink the Crimson Armada, what can his people do in real war?" Ray Carter listened to this conversation secretly through a hidden frequency. His ship, Valkyrie, hovered far above the planet in stealth mode. Aina stood beside him, arms crossed. "They're scared," she said. "And scared leaders make stupid choices." Ray nodded slowly. "Fear is predictable," he said. "They'll come for us soon, but not with fleets, with politics." He was right. Within hours, the council sent a summons. "Commander Ray Carter," the message said. "You are to appear before the council to explain your actions and methods." Hannah frowned. "That sounds like a trap," Ray smiled slightly. "It is. But every trap reveals the one who set it." The next morning, Ray entered the council chamber. Thousands of eyes watched as he walked across the shining floor. Threx sat at the center, flanked by guards in gold armor. "Commander," Threx began, "your victories have caused great disturbance. You have violated the spirit of training exercises, using forbidden tactics. Do you deny this?" Ray looked straight at him. "I deny nothing," he said calmly. "I fought as humans always fight, to survive." Murmurs spread through the crowd. "Survive?" An alien senator repeated. "You call destroying fleets survival?" Ray's gaze didn't waver. "For us, survival is never a game." Threx leaned forward, his claws gripping the table. "You make yourself sound noble," he said. "But you are a danger to peace. The Council is considering disarming all human fleets." Hannah's voice echoed in Ray's earpiece from the ship. "They're planning to frame you," she whispered. Ray's lips curved into a faint smile. "Let them try," he whispered back. Then the lights in the chamber flickered. Gasps filled the room. A massive hologram appeared above the council table. Live footage of an unknown fleet entering orbit. "Unidentified ships approaching," shouted a guard. The crowd panicked. Threx stood in shock. "Who dares attack the council?" The hologram zoomed in. Ships bearing no flag, no signal. Pirates? One senator guessed, but Ray knew better. His eyes narrowed. "That's not pirates," he said. "That's the Black Sun Legion." The Black Sun Legion, a group of rogue mercenaries banned by the Council, had been waiting for revenge against everyone who had exiled them. And now they had chosen the perfect moment to strike. "This is your doing," Threx accused Ray. "You brought them here." "No," Ray said coldly. You did. You made enemies of everyone who once served under you. Alarms blared. The council guards rushed to defend the city, but the mercenaries began firing plasma rounds from orbit. Explosions lighting up the sky. Shields are failing. Someone screamed, "We need evacuation." Threx turned to Ray in desperation. "If you care about peace, stop this." Ray looked at him for a long moment, then said, "Peace was never your goal, Admiral, but fine, I'll save your people anyway." He tapped his communicator. "Hannah, bring Valkyrie online." "On it," she replied. Within minutes, the human warship broke from stealth and dived toward the capital. Engines roaring as it descended, its hull reflected the fires of the burning city. "Commander, the Legion is deploying ground troops," Hannah reported. "They're targeting the council bunker." Ray stood up. "Then that's where we go." The doors of the council chamber burst open as armored mercenaries stormed in. The aliens panicked. Threx drew his weapon, firing wildly. "Protect the council," he shouted, but the mercenaries advanced with brutal precision. Before they could reach the dais, the roof exploded open, and from the smoke descended Ray. Wearing a combat exosuit, laser rifle in hand, he landed in the center of the chaos, eyes cold as ice. "Step away from the council," he commanded. The mercenaries laughed. "One man against all of us?" Ray didn't answer. He moved like lightning, every shot precise, dropping enemies one after another. The aliens watched in disbelief as the human fought with speed and control beyond anything they'd seen. "He's a machine," one whispered, when the last mercenary fell. The hall filled with silence, broken only by the sound of Ray's breathing. Threx looked around, stunned. "You saved us," he said quietly. Ray removed his helmet. "I saved the innocent," he replied, "not the arrogant." He walked toward the Admiral. "Now you see why humans train the way we do, not to conquer, but to be ready for the moment no one else is." Threx said nothing. For the first time, the proud Admiral lowered his head outside. The Black Sun fleet began retreating as Valkyrie's cannons fired precision strikes. Ray turned to leave the chamber. "The next time you mock humanity," he said over his shoulder, "remember who stood between you and destruction." When the smoke cleared and the fires faded, the council met again, this time without anger. One senator stood and said, "Perhaps we have misunderstood the humans." Another added, "Perhaps they are not a threat, but a warning." Threx said nothing. He only looked at the stars through the shattered glass above. That night, aboard Valkyrie, Hannah approached Ray as he watched the planet from orbit. "You saved the council," she said. "You could have let them fall." Ray nodded slowly. "Yes," he said, "but humans don't win by destruction. We win by showing what others refuse to see." Hannah smiled. "And what's that?" Ray turned toward her, his eyes calm but fierce. "That fear is not power, control is." As Valkyrie drifted through the night sky, the message from Earth Command appeared once again. "The galaxy owes you a debt, Commander." "Humanity has earned its respect," Ray smiled faintly, looking out at the glowing horizon. "Respect," he whispered, "is just the first step." And far below, on the planet that once mocked his species, alien children looked up at the stars, wondering how a single human had saved them all. The galaxy had changed, and everyone knew it. Since the attack on the council, the name Commander Ray Carter had become more than legend. It was a warning. News channels spoke of him as the man who saved the council, but military leaders whispered something different. "He didn't save us," one alien general said quietly. "He showed us how powerless we truly are." Fear spread faster than any fleet. Yet amidst the rising tension, something darker was forming beyond the edge of the known systems. A secret that even the council didn't dare speak aloud. On board the Valkyrie, Ray sat in his quarters, staring at the holographic reports flooding in. Hannah entered the room, her face tense. "Commander," she said, "you need to see this." She placed a data chip on the console, and a map appeared, glowing red in the darkness. Entire sectors flickered offline, communications silence. Ray asked. Hannah nodded. "No signals, no distress calls. It's like those colonies never existed." Ray frowned. "The Black Sun Legion." Hannah shook her head. "Worse, something else is moving out there." The next morning, Earth Command transmitted an encrypted message. "Commander Carter," the Admiral's voice said. "Intelligence reports an unknown force attacking frontier systems. The Council wants human assistance." Ray leaned back, eyes narrowed. "After all the blame they put on us, now they call for help." Hana crossed her arms. "You're not seriously going to help them, are you?" He gave her a small smile. "If those colonies fall, it won't stop at the Council. It'll reach Earth. Within hours, Valkyrie jumped to hyperspace, streaks of blue light reflecting off its hull. As they approached the frontier system, the stars shifted and the horror came into view. Dozens of shattered ships floated lifeless in orbit. "No heat signatures," Hana whispered. "Whoever did this, they didn't just destroy them, they erased them." Ray stood still, staring at the carnage. "Scan for survivors," he ordered. The sensors clicked, then beeped faintly. One life sign, weak, on the edge of the debris field. Moments later, they brought aboard a small escape pod. Inside lay a badly injured alien pilot, his armor cracked and blackened. Ray knelt beside him. "Who did this?" he asked softly. The alien coughed, his eyes wide with fear. "Not pirates, not Legion. Something worse. Mechanical machines?" Hana asked. The alien nodded weakly. "They came without warning. They learn, they adapt. They don't stop." His voice faded as his pulse vanished. Ray stood slowly. "If that's true, we're dealing with something beyond any army." Hana's face paled. "Commander, what do we do?" He turned to the bridge. "We find them before they find us." As the ship moved deeper into the system, strange signals filled the sensors, rhythmic pulses like mechanical heartbeats. "It's almost like they're talking," Hana said quietly. "Then let's answer," Ray replied. He sent a coded signal, but the reply came instantly, a deep tone that shook the hull. Suddenly, thousands of red dots appeared on the radar. "Incoming!" shouted a crewman. The void lit up with metallic shadows, giant black ships emerging from the darkness, their surfaces shifting like liquid steel. "They're surrounding us," Hana said. "Weapons ready," Ray ordered. The alien machines didn't fire, they just watched. Then, one ship transmitted an eerie voice through static. "Human detected. Anomaly. Analysis required." The crew froze. "They know you," Hana whispered. Ray clenched his jaw. "So they've studied us without warning." The mechanical fleet fired a blinding pulse, knocking the Valkyrie into a spin, shields failing. Hana shouted, "Reroute power to stabilizers," Ray commanded. "We're not dying here." He maneuvered the ship through debris, dodging blasts of energy. "Return fire," he yelled. Cannons roared, but the blasts seemed to dissolve into the enemy's hull. "They're absorbing our attacks," Hina said. Ray's mind raced. "Then we hit them with something they can't calculate." He pulled up a schematic. "Prepare the EMP core." "Sir, that'll disable us too," Anna warned. "I know," he said, "but it's better than letting them learn everything about us." As the enemy fleet closed in, the Valkyrie's lights dimmed. Ray placed his hand on the trigger. "For humanity," he whispered, and activated the pulse. A wave of blue energy rippled through space. The enemy fleet froze mid-attack, their ships flickering and collapsing one by one. The bridge filled with smoke and silence. "Systems offline," Hana said softly. "But they're gone." Ray exhaled slowly. "Not gone," he said. "Just sleeping." Hours later, the systems rebooted. The ship drifted through the wreckage of frozen machines. "Commander," Hana said, "Earth Command is calling. They want a report." Ray looked out at the black void. "Tell them we found something the galaxy isn't ready for." When they returned to the Council, the aliens demanded answers. "You led the enemy to our borders," Threx shouted. "You brought this upon us." Ray's voice was steady. "No, I warned you, and you ignored me. Now the machines are coming for everyone." The Council erupted in panic. Some wanted to hide, others wanted to fight. Ray turned away from them. "You can argue," he said coldly, "but we'll prepare." As he walked out, Threx called after him, "You can't fight them alone." Ray stopped and looked back. "I never fight alone," he said. "I train others to fight." That night, aboard the Valkyrie, Hana found him in the training hall. "You're really planning to teach the galaxy to fight like humans?" she asked. Ray nodded. They need to learn what we learned centuries ago. Fear is only power if you master it. He paused, then added quietly, we'll make soldiers out of survivors. Outside, stars glimmered faintly, but something darker moved behind them. In the silence of the void, the broken machines began to glow again. One by one, their red eyes reactivating as they turned toward the direction of Earth. A chilling message echoed through their network. Adaptation complete. New target acquired. Humanity, and far away aboard his ship. Ray Carter looked into the dark horizon and whispered, "Then the real war begins." The alarms echoed through the Valkyrie, sharp and relentless. Red lights flashed across the bridge as the crew rushed to their stations. Hana's voice cut through the noise. "Commander, we've picked up movement at the edge of the Orion sector. Hundreds of contacts. They're back." Ray Carter stood in silence, staring at the dark expanse beyond the holographic screen. "So, the machines learned faster than we hoped," he said quietly. "All ships to combat readiness outside." Space was alive with flickering lights. The mechanical fleet had returned, larger and more coordinated than before. They moved like one mind, perfect in rhythm. Each ship emitted a low humming tone that seemed almost alive. "They're broadcasting something," Hana said. "It's a signal, binary code, repeating." Ray narrowed his eyes. "Translate it." The computer processed the message, and the translation appeared in cold letters. "Surrender humanity. Resistance is waste." Ray smiled faintly. "They think we'll surrender." Hana frowned. "Commander, there are too many." "Even you can't outthink that." He turned toward her. "That's why we're not fighting alone this time." He tapped his comms. "This is Commander Carter to all Allied fleets. Prepare for engagement. Across the stars, hundreds of ships responded, human, alien, and hybrid fleets assembled under one banner. It was the first time in galactic history that former enemies stood together. "They followed you," Hana said quietly. "After everything, they're ready to fight beside us." Ray nodded. "They're not following me, Hana. They're following the idea that humanity never quits." The fleets formed into a vast crescent formation, their engines glowing. The mechanical armada responded by spreading out into perfect geometric rows. It looked like an army of shadows facing a wall of light. "They've learned our formations," Hana said. "They're adapting again." Ray's eyes hardened. "Then we'll stop thinking like soldiers and start thinking like humans." The battle began with silence. Then the first wave of machine fire tore through space, blinding blue plasma striking against the Allied shields. The shock waves rippled across the void. "Shaking ships, shields at 60%, shouted a technician. "Return fire," Ray ordered. "Focus on pattern disruption. Don't aim where they are. Aim where they'll move." Human gunners adapted faster than the machines could predict. Their shots curved, delayed, and misdirected, confusing the enemy's AI, but the machines countered just as fast. "They're learning mid-battle," Ina shouted. "They're rewriting their algorithms." Ray stayed calm. "Then we stop giving them patterns to learn." He leaned over the console. "Eyes sharp. Initiate Chaos Protocol." Hana froze. "That's never been tested in real combat." "Then today's the test," he replied. The Allied fleet scattered unpredictably, breaking every known rule of formation. Ships moved in irregular paths, some diving into enemy lines, others vanishing behind debris. To the machine network, it looked like madness. Their predictive systems began to fail. "They're losing coordination." Ilna exclaimed. "Exactly," Ray said. "They can't calculate chaos." But just as hope rose, the enemy did something new. From the center of the mechanical fleet, a colossal structure emerged, a living machine the size of a moon. Its surface pulsed with red light. "What is that?" Hana whispered. "That," Ray said, "is their command core." The machine spoke through every frequency at once. Human anomaly detected. Termination initiated. The giant core began absorbing energy from its fleet, drawing power until it glowed like a second sun. "They're going to detonate it." Hana shouted. "It'll wipe out everything." Ray clenched his jaw. "Then we stop it before it starts." He activated the ship's direct comms. "All fleets focus fire on the core's intake vents, full barrage." Hundreds of ships opened fire, the sky lit up like dawn. Explosions flashing across the surface of the machine. But it kept absorbing energy faster than they could damage it. "It's not enough," Hannah said. "We're out of time." Ray looked at the screen, then made a decision. "Prepare the EMP core again." "That will destroy us too," Hannah warned. "I know," he said, "but if it saves them—" "It's worth it," Hannah's eyes glistened. "You can't," she whispered. "You've done enough," Ray smiled faintly. "We're soldiers, Hannah, not heroes. And sometimes soldiers don't come home." He moved to the control panel, fingers flying over the commands. "When the core goes off, take the fleet back to Earth." Hannah stepped forward. "I'm not leaving." He looked at her, calm but firm. "That's an order." Before she could argue, a sudden voice echoed through the comms. It was Threx, the alien admiral who once despised him. "Human," Threx said, "if you're going to die today, at least let us die beside you." Ray laughed softly. "Didn't think I'd ever hear that. Consider it repayment," Threx said, "for teaching us what real combat means." Ray's eyes softened for a moment. "Then let's make it count." He activated the EMP charge. But instead of one ship, dozens across the Allied fleet followed his signal. "They're linking power signatures," Hannah realized. "They're combining the charge." Ray nodded. "Let's show them how humans fight together." The massive wave of blue light expanded outward, brighter than anything the galaxy had seen. It swallowed the mechanical core, breaking its systems apart. One by one, the enemy ships froze, their lights dimming until the entire armada went silent. The explosion faded, leaving only the stars. For a long time, no one spoke. The comms were quiet. Then Hannah's voice came softly. "It worked!" The fleets cheered across every channel. "Victory!" Someone shouted. Ray leaned against the console, exhausted but smiling. "Not victory," he said quietly. "Survival." Days later, the Council declared peace across the galaxy. Humans were no longer mocked but respected. Their tactics became part of galactic defense training. Threx himself saluted Ray as an equal, saying, "You turned war into unity," Ray replied. "No, Admiral. Humanity just reminded everyone what unity really means." That night, aboard Valkyrie, Hannah stood beside him, looking at the stars. "So it's finally over?" she asked. Ray looked at the endless sky and said, "For now, but peace never lasts forever." She smiled faintly. "Then what do we do?" He turned to her with calm eyes. "We train." As the ship drifted quietly through the darkness, Earth's blue glow shimmered in the distance. The galaxy had learned the truth about humanity. Not that they were the strongest, but that they were impossible to break. And somewhere in the shadows, the machines that had survived whispered a single phrase through the void: "Adaptation continues." While Ray Carter, the man who had turned mockery into fear and fear into unity, whispered back, "Then so do we."